You know, if I could go back in time and tell myself anything, it would be don't rush the process. When you're starting off slimmer, skinnier, a lot of people, even in the gym or people family members, they won't know it, but it impacts you deeply. They might come off and say, you need to gain some weight, lightweight, tease you about your size. But if I could go back in time and tell myself something, it would be don't rush the process. Take your time, because I honestly wish that I didn't rush to bulk as much, because some of the diets led me on like eating Oreo cookies with milk, buying jars of peanut butter, slamming it down with bread and jelly, eating cereal and milk, because everyone's like, gain mass, you got to eat big to get big. But what ended up happening was I gained too much weight. And when you eat too much, what they don't tell you is you'll gain body fat, because muscle mass is a much longer process and it takes time to actually build muscle. Whereas fat, you can build fat as quickly and as fast as you want. Muscle mass takes time. So in rushing the food and accelerating my weight gain progress, it was like, yeah, you see the vascularity vanish from your body. You're feeling the size, like the strength gains are going up. So if your goal is just to gain strength, just to gain power, I mean, go ahead, eat to the sky and back. But if your goal is just to put on like quality mass, improve your physical fitness, your physical physique, and your overall look and your aesthetics, like don't get caught up in the hype of rushing to gain too much weight. Because again, you can go online and say, hey, ChatGPT, Google it, whatever you want, and say, can you list me a meal plan to gain weight? They'll give you the macros. If you go ahead and eat the macros, you'll gain weight. And then they'll tell you, if you're not gaining weight, simply add 250 to 500 calories. Now, the problem I find with that is that when you just keep adding and adding and you don't take into account, like, how do you feel? How's your energy levels? Are you gaining muscle mass? Or are you gaining body fat? And a lot of times I feel like skinny individuals, I'm gonna talk about myself here, being a skinnier individual, it was difficult to like combat people verbally, because it's like you're small. In your mind, you're thinking, oh, wait until I put on this size, then you won't be able to tease me about my size. But in the moment, you're skinny, so you're just like, I can't talk on future gains that I haven't made yet. So you get caught up in the hype of, you're staying your course at first, but after a while you get sidetracked of, they keep talking about, I can't bench this much, I can't deadlift this much, I'm a lightweight, I'm a toothpick. So eventually you get sidetracked and be like, yeah, I need to eat more to gain size so that I could earn their respect, or so that I could like fit in with the big dogs. But what ultimately I feel ends up happening to a lot of people, or what happened to me was I gained the weight, and you eventually start to like outlift people, and you expect to be like, oh my god, you're so amazing, you're so great, but at the same time it's met by more like all of the criticisms kind of die out ultimately. But then it goes from you're that skinny twig to now you're this cocky guy, or this dude who's just lifting a heap of crazy weight, or you're just gaining size but now you lost your definition. So then you kind of get sidetracked and caught up in, and oh, but this is what everyone was pushing me towards. So I say all of that story to say, find a path that you want to hit. Like, when you find your goal, stick to it. People are going to come back with information that's telling you, hey, you're doing this wrong, you need to do something different. They're going to try and pull you into their lane, right? This is what I'm doing, so this is what you should do, and I'm doing you a favor because I'm enlightening you to find the best path, which is my path. But what you need to understand, or I encourage you to understand, is stick to what your mind was set on. Like, if you're 120, 130 pounds like me, and you said, okay, well, I just want to be, 150 or 160, and I'm in no rush, I just want to improve my physical health, I want to put on some muscle mass, I want to stay vascular, I just want to be a little bit bigger and fuller, I would strongly encourage you, don't ignore people. Take the feedback, but ultimately you might have to ignore them. You might have to say thank you, try it out. It works, it's wonderful, but I have a goal in mind and I want to stick to that goal. It's going to be difficult because people are going to treat you like you're stubborn or you're ignorant or you don't want to listen. This guy is just not receptive to information and we're trying to teach him because we've been there, but they don't understand that everything takes time and there is no sense in rushing your progress and just eating and bulking and eating and bulking, because a lot of the times we all have different goals. So once you're happy with the outcome, once you're happy with your goals that you've set, to me is ultimately what's important. So if I could go back in time and tell myself something, it would have been enjoy the process more like I'm enjoying it now. Lift for you, lift fun. Don't be afraid to compliment other people, because over time it does get a little interesting depending on your environment, but over time you can get like so hyper focused and so meticulous with your diet and with your results that it's like, oh, I'm up a certain amount of weight, but I might have caught a cold and I lost some weight. So people are telling me you're looking a little small, but it's like I'm coming from 120, 130 pounds to 170. I dropped down to 160, and then you're getting that type of feedback. It might sidetrack you to the point where you're like, but I'm much bigger than I used to be. Don't even study all of that. People are always going to give you positive compliments. People are always going to give you negative compliments, is what I found. It's more important that you focus on your goal and say, hey, am I better than where I was? Am I able to still improve? Am I able to still lift the way I want? Am I having fun? Is my passion in it? Is to me what's important. So I'd strongly encourage everyone, that's struggling to gain weight. I feel like people struggle to lose weight, people struggle to gain weight, but there's a struggle on both ends. But when you're skinny and you're trying to gain weight, like quality mass, it is a very difficult, taunting task because it takes so much time. Yeah, you could eat McDonald's, Wendy's, KFC. You could like buy a bunch of junk food and stuff and dirty bulk, as people say. But in the long run, you're going to have, in my opinion, kind of like an opposite effect trying to trim the weight off if you don't control your appetite along the way. So it's one of those double-edged swords where, yes, a dirty bulk has its benefits, but if you don't have like stops in place, like every 2 to 3 months you go on a cut, then you bulk, then you cut, then you bulk, and you end up just like, okay, I'm gonna bulk for a year or two and then I'm gonna go on a beautiful cut, that's not accounting for anything in your life that might occur. Any setbacks, any family drama, any relationship drama, any financial stress, any schooling stress for yourself, it's not accounting for anything that could possibly go wrong. So I would encourage you, like, if you're on a skinnier side and you're struggling to gain weight, if your diet's not there, like people say, just buy food and force it down. It's like, no, buy the food, get the foods, try and focus on a healthy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. After you get your breakfast, lunch, and dinner down packed, then you could focus on adding maybe a fourth meal or some snacks. But even if you can't eat your breakfast, even if you can't eat your dinner and it's just lunch you eat, I would encourage you, like people say, 6 ounces of protein per meal. And that's a good goal. But if you don't have an appetite and you're not accustomed to eating your breakfast and your dinner, what I would say is start off with, even if it's 1 or 2 ounces, 1 or 2 ounces of protein. 1 or 2 ounces of protein with your meal, maybe a little tablespoon of rice and a little bit of veggies, right? Just set that down, put it on a plate, pause, and then be like, to take a spoon. What if you need to use a little hot sauce, a little ketchup, whatever seasoning you like, take a spoon and then see, can I actually eat it? If you can't eat it, it's okay. Move on to your lunch that you're accustomed to eating. Go ahead and eat that. Then for dinner, do the same thing. 1 to 2 ounces of any protein that you like. A little scoop of rice or potato, a little thing of veggies, pause it, see if you can eat it. If you can't, perfect. The next day, try. But even if you get half a spoon of food in your mouth and you're able to digest that, that is progress. What people don't understand is when your body gets accustomed to, I don't want to say starving, but it's basically starving and not eating on a regular basis, it gets very difficult to just force all of that food. It becomes very depressing, and I don't think people understand. Like, there's some people who have the opposite issue where they can't stop eating, but that's because years and decades of eating in surpluses, and now your body's trained for it. But at one point, they probably had issues with eating, unless they've been like, foodies all their life. But in the general case, it's like they built up that metabolism. So for on the opposite spectrum, it's like if you don't have an appetite, you've got to build up. There's going to be days where you're going to put the plate down and you're going to be like, wow, and you just can barely eat. Like, the taste of food is turning you off. The taste of reaching for the fork is irritating you. Your stomach just feels like it wants to regurgitate it. That is, in my opinion, perfectly fine. What you need to do is don't get depressed. Maybe put it in the fridge, put it in some Tupperware, pause that. You tried, at least you tried. Move on to your lunch. Try it, even if you fell out, okay, move on to your dinner. But it's important to get the repetitiveness, the routine in place so that you're training your body to, hey, you don't got to go in starvation mode. You don't have to go in saving mode. Here's food. Like, you can release energy, you can digest energy as needed, because breakfast, lunch, and dinner are coming regularly. That's all you need. So my advice is, if you're on the slimmer side, on the skinnier side, and you're struggling to gain weight, don't let it deter you of how annoying or long the process is taking. Just trust the process. If you're able to get in the gym and lift some weights, the best decision I made was joining a gym, because that helped to supercharge my metabolism. Suddenly it went from don't want to eat to I couldn't eat enough. So that's why I encourage you, like, it's going to reach a point where you'll go from I can barely eat to everything I'm eating is not enough. Because when you're skinny and you start to put on that quality mass, it becomes like your body is putting everything that you're eating to use. Like, anytime I see skinny people and they're working out hard, I'm like, my God, you don't even understand like how amazing your physique's gonna be if you stick with it consistently and you just don't rush the progress. So my advice, don't rush the progress, don't rush the process. Just take your time, enjoy it, have fun. Don't let anyone's words get to you. Enjoy your vascularity. Because if there's one thing I could have enjoyed more, would have been how lean I was, how when I tensed, the veins were popping. Whenever I lifted weights and you look in a recording, your neck veins are popping. It's a beautiful thing. So enjoy the progress and enjoy your leanness.